This is the Speed Demon achievement. To get it, you have to beat Resident Evil 9 in under 4 hours. And this is the Berserker Mod. A difficulty overhaul that when set to hardcore with all its bells and whistles enabled is an absolute living hell. And on this video, I'm trying to do both of them at the same time while playing on Insanity, the hardest difficulty of the game, and on Hardcore, the hardest difficulty of the mod, which adds some not very welcomed additions like no blocking and no random enemy drops, and I could immediately tell how bad this was gonna be from the first room of the mod, because this mod skips the intro of the game and you always play as Leon, so we're immediately on the center of the action. But luckily we don't have to kill anyone yet. I can just get the shotgun in here and run to the end and proceed to the next part, which had a little surprise for us. In here, I could clearly feel those effects like crazy enemies and perfect parries only, and we can also see that the health bar is really nerfed down, as well as the hatchet's durability. That thing breaks down faster than my sanity while playing on this challenge, which is ironic because my lack of sanity is the only reason I attempted this challenge in the first place. But anyways, this part didn't go as smoothly as before, and I spent a little while in here, but I did manage to finally get a hold of the chainsaw and take out some of that build-up pressure I had from previous challenges. And I made sure to get the steroids in here to make the health bar a little bit bigger. But anyways, we reach the grace section and we get another weapon in here. Then we start exploring the care center. And to be honest, this is where I started making mistakes. You see, I have an itch to grab every possible thing I can. And that is really a big problem when I'm trying to beat the game in under 4 hours. Especially when the rooms look like this. But anyways, I went through the west side, sneaking and running past most enemies. Then I did this puzzle to know which buttons to press because my memory sucks. Then we head to the east side. We get pranked on this door, then get licked by a licker before finally arriving at Chunk. Now before grabbing the bracelet, I made sure to kill the maid and one of these noise suppression specialists on this room downstairs. Then I got the bracelets and crafted a bottle and got this big chunky boy to follow me downstairs, where we issued a noise complaint about him and he was dealt with the hard way. Then we had to get the second quartz and we almost get pranked by a licker while trying to shoot this singer lady. Nice. You know, these perfect parries only are brutal, but it's really satisfying when you pull it off, even if it's by sheer luck. Now we go back to the west side, and since I didn't kill the enemies last time I was in here, they were scattered across the hallway plus like a bazillion lickers or so. And no matter how hard I try to go to the locker room or the pantry, I always get outnumbered by lickers and blister heads, which was not a good combo. So I did my favorite strategy in all of the challenges, and it's called Run and Pray. And it's basically just running and praying. Very complicated stuff, I know. And like always, it worked like a charm. I reached the garage, got the lungs, then went around to get the hearts and placed them on the zombie in here, and I let nature take its course. Okay, maybe we helped the nature a little bit. Anyways, we got the level 2 bracelets, used it to get the level 3 one, then I started killing these conveniently placed enemies in here.
Hey, you. You're finally awake.
Okay, redoing this part, only I'm a little more careful with the timing of my kills. I managed to kill 2, circle around, then kill the remaining 2, while Mr. X is waiting patiently behind me. And even though we can literally see which buttons we just pressed on the puzzle, we still needed to get Emily to read them for us. I love Capcom. Okay, I get that Leon may not be the best with kids, but holy crap, what is this, man? That's not how you hold a child. Thankfully, unlike Grace, Leon can still run when holding Emily. It might not be the most comfortable thing for her, but it's definitely better than getting squished by the tyrant. So we hit him with the old circle around in here, and we run to the brails. And as soon as we reach them, he despawns. But we get a mix of a bloater, a chainsaw guy, and some blister heads all together. Needless to say, I died quite a few times in here, but I did develop a strategy. I start off by dealing some damage to the bloater in here, and I don't really care what they call him in this game because that is a bloater. Then when the blister guys show up, I just use the shotgun on their legs, and it usually takes about 2 or 3 shots for them to fall down, then I can use the hatchet to finish them off. And when the bloater enters the room, I run out and deal with the other guys in here, and I use the magnum and the axe to kill the chainsaw guy, leaving just the bloater and 2 more regular enemies to deal with. And even though this guy was tough, he wasn't really the smartest. In fact, he just waited patiently near this window while I cleared these 2 enemies, then I just finished them off. And now it's time for the Leon segment. And having another boss fight right after that room is complete bullshit in my opinion. But within a few attempts, the chunky boy was turned into a diarrhea boy, and we head back to the care center. Keep in mind that the deaths aren't counted towards your final time. I can see that because I'm using the Speed Demon challenge to track my time. And whenever you die and hit continue, your time resets to where it was on that save or checkpoint. And now we're back on the west wing. And this time I did manage to clear out this hallway and used all my coins in here. And honestly, I did waste a lot of time in here. I looted almost everything in the care center. I just hope I'll have enough time for the rest of the game. Definitely not foreshadowing. Now the blister head room wasn't too bad. I just do the same strat I've been doing the entire run, which is to shotgun their legs and finish them off. And of course there was also a licker. And after switching the lever, you get a singing lady and a chef. And they weren't too bad because my weapons were starting to become really strong. But then we got teleported to the basement again. And this part was a little annoying. because whenever you make some progress, some lickers spawn out of nowhere to ruin your day. And my strategy for the lickers was mostly to stealth kill them, or if I'm feeling risky, I try to bait them until they do this jump in attack, which if I parry successfully, you get a prompt to kill them instantly. It was faster but less consistent and much more dangerous. Anyways, using the first plugin here, we can bait enemies from this room to the room on the opposite side, and they will keep trying to follow me through this electrocuted water puddle, until they fry their brains out. Then we get the second plug, and going back through here, we get a horde of zombies that crawl through here all the way from Raccoon City, and I just ran to this room again and watched them fry themselves. Well, I did get a little impatient in here and decided to use a grenade to make it faster, so one of the guys got pushed by a grenade and he transformed into a blister head and killed me. Well, I really deserved that. So I did the same thing on the next attempt, and it worked flawlessly this time. And by the way, I just realized that Mary is a real piece of shit. Not only did she eat this guy's head off, she didn't even bother to put him down correctly, and she just left him in this weird ass position. Now we move on to get the crank key, and I know there's a skip I can do in here, and it would save a lot of time. It basically allows me to clip out of bounds and head directly to the other side, no going around, nor doing the meat grinder. And I'm usually not against using skips and glitches in challenges like this, but this time it just didn't feel right. So I didn't do the skip, and the game rewarded me by this glitch that just got me stuck in here. What? She's stuck, man. What the heck? You're kidding me, man. Come on. So I had to reload the save and do it all again, and then do the meat grinder, which actually wasn't that bad. But the part right after it was an absolute nightmare though. Basically, it's a bloater with a shit ton of enemies. So I just ran through it to the elevator in here, and I got a fourth plug in here. Normally, there are only 3 plugs in this area, and you use all 3 to unlock the cells and save Emily. But on the Berserker mod, you get another surprise after freeing Emily. And of course it's Mr. X. And that fourth plug is meant to go in here, so you can go through this room on the right and circle around him. But since my strategy is to act first, think later, I didn't do that. And I just tanked the hit from the fedora guy and ran to the elevator. But don't worry though, Marie got our back. Now we can finally leave this hospital, and we had to go through this lab or basement or whatever this is. And we get the silencer 9 in here. So I immediately said goodbye to the first pistol and just ran my way out through this room and performed a sick parry on yet another Mr. X in here before heading back up. And now it's time for the sniper segment, which was pretty easy. I'm not sure if the mod changed anything in here, because on Insanity you always get 2 extra enemies with you while you save Grace. But anyways, we do this part and head down for another bloater fight. And it really wasn't easy. Whenever you blow up one of his cysts or whatever those things are, a lot of enemies spawn. And these are not just normal enemies. There are blisters and lickers and chainsaws and even a BSAA zombie, which was really annoying. So I did spend a while in here. The best strat I could come up with was to blow up one of his blisters and then run to those stairs. And he usually blocks the licker behind him, but this time he didn't feel like doing it for some reason. Anyways, I used this barrel in here and then went down, and that should kill everyone on the stairs. So the big boy comes rushing towards me, and I use this barrel on him, kick him to blow up another one of his blisters, and whenever this little piece of shit spawns, I just use grenades on him and finish him off as fast as I can. I even killed the chainsaw guy with grenades purely by accident, but I'm glad I did. Then I finished off the bloater and any remaining enemies. Now I put Emily down to rest, and I got the TAC 919 here, which is my favorite shotgun. Then I realized I did a mistake. In order for me to track my time, I needed to have the Speed Demon challenge locked, so I can see my current playtime. And the problem is that I've already done all the achievements and challenges in the game. I wish we could just see that in the pause menu like in RE4. But anyways, the only solution I could come up with is to back up my save, and then I used an older save I had when I just beat the game for the first time. This way I have the Insanity difficulty unlocked and the Speed Demon challenge locked. The problem is on the save file, I didn't collect all those raccoon things, so I couldn't fully max out my weapons. I also didn't unlock the rocket launcher in here, so after some digging, I found the timer mod that shows you the in-game timer. So I used that, and luckily, the save file for this game is split into a lot of files. And there's one specifically for challenges and unlockables. So I just put my old save in there, so I had everything unlocked, and now I had a timer on the screen. So now we have to go down to switch the 3 switches. And guess who was down here? Yep, it's Mary and Mr. X and a million other zombies. I'm just glad there isn't any lickers. Anyways, I switched the first lever, and surprisingly, Leon switched it instantly, unlike Grace. And I also noticed that Mr. X gets downed by the light too. And I wasn't complaining, of course. Then I went to the second lever, and I got completely destroyed, so I just bailed out and went to the last one. And after switching it, Mary kindly knocked down all the enemies in my way. So as a thank you, I let her have a little bite, before switching the last switch and giving her a healthy dose of vitamin D. I didn't know she was allergic to vitamin D, but I guess we finally got justice for the headless guy. Reaching Raccoon City, I was already 2 hours in, and I still have to do the entirety of Raccoon City and the Ark section in under 2 hours. And the first thing I did in here was kill this horde of zombies to get enough points to get a rocket launcher. And I plan to use a rocket launcher on this giant spider. I thought about saving this rocket launcher for a later boss in the game, but honestly, having already played this mod once before, I really didn't enjoy this fight. So it was over in seconds. And by the way, when you unlock the unlimited rocket launcher, it's automatically turned on by default. And I noticed that right after I used it on the spider. And I still had it on me, so I disabled that and discarded it. And by the way, I'm making a proof channel for my videos because you can never be too sure these days. So I'll be uploading the full playthrough on that channel. And obviously I die a lot throughout these challenges. This challenge alone is over 14 hours of footage. So I'll just stitch the successful attempts together and you can see how I beat each room and you can see my inventory, etc. If you have any questions or suggestions, feel free to let me know down in the comments. Anyways, now we needed to collect the 3 detonator parts. So I just ran through these guys, and I killed everyone on this bloater room. Well, almost everyone. This chainsaw guy was a bit tanky, so I just left him, along with another grenade zombie. And then I sneaked my way through this room that is filled with liquors. I really struggled in here in my first playthrough, but I learned the patterns. So now I just sneak through until I reach the room with a battery, and we get a really good charm in here that heals me whenever I kill an enemy. Then we head out and I got the marksman from one of the BSAA containers, and I really wanted to backtrack for the first container because I know that one has a mortal edge and it makes the perfect parries so much better, but I know that takes way too much time that I just don't have right now. So I went on to get the rest of the parts, and let me tell you, some of these rooms were complete bullshit. Even after surviving this room with a lot of liquors and soldiers, the rooftop had like 1,000 more mortar guys and a lot more BSAA zombies as well. And normally, I snipe all the mortars and then use them to clear the rest. But again, I was already running late on time, so I can't spend time clearing this room. So I did my favorite strat again, run and pray. And while just running aimlessly didn't work, killing a few mortar guys and timing my runs, and with some luck and a lot of heals, I made it to the detonator part. So I took it and reset the checkpoint, thinking that despawns the enemies in here. But I was wrong, and getting back down was just as bad as coming up here, if not worse. So I had to snipe more mortars and kill even more enemies, and that allowed me to make it down in one piece. Now for the gas station. I self-killed 3 lickers in here, and when you get the chainsaw, it's complete chaos. Using the chainsaw, I was killing enemies and even lickers very quickly. And thanks to the charm we got before, every kill meant I heal a little bit, so even taking damage wasn't that bad. But that was just the first wave. The second one had more enemies, 2 bloaters, and the chainsaw guy. But to be honest, it really wasn't that bad. One of the bloaters spawns right here, and they die very quickly to the chainsaw, so this guy was done before he can even react. And then this guy took my chainsaw and I had to circle around to get it, and I used the barrel so I can reach my chainsaw without dying. Then I used it to kill the bloater and the chainsaw man and any remaining enemies. Now I had to get the last part, and time was of the essence. So I just tried to run past most things, and I did make it. And I got the ghost grudge in here, but getting down was much harder than getting up. Starting off with this area that had a mortar, 2 bloaters, and a lot of enemies. And there was no way I was killing these guys. So I just snapped a few enemies before going in, and then I just ran and prayed. And with a few attempts, it worked like a charm. But the other side also had a mortar and a few blister heads and a chainsaw guy and a freaking chunk. And just like before, there is no way I'm killing all these enemies. So I got their attention and waited for Chunk to get to this wider area, then shot him twice with a magnum. And this way he goes down, allowing me to pass through. Then I used the barrel to kill the enemies in the way, and Leon decided that this guy who was completely out of the way is the one he should throw the axe at. And then I just ran to the end of the room. So now it's time to use the lift. And there is a neat speedrun strat in here. If you switch the camera to first person and just look at the sky and avoid making eye contact with the enemies, you hurt their feelings, and they will just ignore you for the whole ride, and you can just wait out this part. In all seriousness, I think it's because their AI is programmed to not attack unless you can see them, and this is just taking advantage of that. Anyways, we destroy the gate, and this mod skips the motorcycle ride. And now we head to one of the most iconic places in Resident Evil games, the RPD. And if you're not nostalgic yet, the mod creator gives you the Matilda in here, because you know Leon always had this weapon in RE2 and RE4. But my pistol was already upgraded and I didn't have the inventory space, so I just left it in there. And I got the Power Shades charm for the Requiem, then proceeded to meet Mr. X on an area he actually belongs in. And of course this mod also skips the Chloe section, so next up was the fight with the Tyrant. But before that, I wanted to get the bear charm from the garage, because when you pair it with the shotgun I have, it becomes very powerful. And the creator of the mod knew this, so guess who was protecting it? And you can't even take it and run, because he closes the door until you kill him. But luckily, on my first playthrough, I realized that if you use one of the zombies in here to blow him up, he goes down pretty fast. So now it's time for the Tyrant's boss fight. And you do get another shotgun before the fight, but like I said, I already had my loadout, and I didn't have any more space, so I didn't take it. And the fight with Mr. X was harder than I expected, because there are a lot of zombies with him to make your life even harder. And I did die in here a lot more times than I would like to admit. But I learned that the best way to defeat him is to try to kill everyone before focusing on him. So I used the shotgun for the enemies, and I used the magnum on him. And he took all of my magnum ammo, and a few shots from the shotgun and the rifle before finally going down. But now I was running very low on time, so I was literally just running past everything, until we reach Capcom's iteration of Plants vs Zombies. We deal with this giant plant, then we go through the world's dirtiest decontamination room. Then I reached this room and I could already hear a licker, and there were more zombies pretending to be dead. But I just ignored everything and I went in and I got another weapon in here. Then a lot of soldiers came into the room, and add that to the licker and zombies I just ignored when I walked in. This room quickly turned into a mess, and I cannot leave until I kill the soldiers, so I spent a while in here. And then I finally came up with a strategy that helped me survive more than 10 seconds. And that was to go from the left side and start sniping them from here. And if a licker or one of the soldiers gets close, I can just use the smoke in here and keep running around the room until I finish all the soldiers and run out. But when I finally finished this room, my time was already 3 hours and 24 minutes. And I still have to do this room, I can't just run through here. And I have to fight the commander and these rooms and kill Victor in 35 minutes. And not gonna lie, that seemed impossible. Maybe I shouldn't have spent all that time looting the care center. But before I could do all these rooms and then realize I don't have enough time, I decided to load a save from now. And I went all the way back from Raccoon City's camp and restarted from there to try and do things faster this time. And that I did. This time I just rushed through this room and I got the battery as fast as possible, and I didn't bother to kill the bloater nor the enemies in here. I just staggered him to turn the wheel as far as I can, and then I attracted all the enemies this way and went back to finish turning the wheel. Then I used this barrel to make way for me and leave. And unlike last time, I didn't go to fix my armor each time it broke. I just booked it to the next sections, starting with the rooftop, which went pretty much the same way as before, although I didn't even bother to use the mortar this time. And on the gas station, I didn't bother to stealth kill the lickers. I just ran to the store, parried and killed the licker in there, and then I got the chainsaw and went crazy on everyone and everything in here. And on the police station, I didn't get the power shades nor the bear charm. And fighting the tyrant, I could already feel that the magnum and shotgun were weaker, but time was of the essence. Then I did the rest of the rooms the same, and I reached this room again having shaved off 25 minutes. Remember this time. And on this room, I just used the smoke in here to get across, went through the bridge and used the grenade to free the licker. And I watched him take out the soldiers, although he was taking his time, so I had to help him out a little. And then going down on the other side, more soldiers spawn. And the room also has some regular and soldier zombies. But I paid no attention to them, and thanks to the licker, I was able to take down the soldiers pretty quickly, and then run out the room. But here is where my streak stops, because the commander boss fight was the worst part in this challenge. You see the fight starts with him in the middle, and you got another soldier and a shield guy with him. And perfect parries only with no blocking made this fight so unforgiving. And because I have been using my hatchet only to finish off enemies, I didn't bother to put any upgrades on it, so it was pretty weak. And even if I killed the two enemies, Hank would kill me pretty fast. And whenever my armor broke down, and it does so pretty quickly, he can kill me with 2 hits. And I tried using grenades, magnum, shotgun, but nothing would work. And I spent hours on this fight. But eventually, I did learn something. The mod adds a lot of those smoke containers in here, and I noticed that when I blow it up when he's near, he gets staggered, allowing me to get a few hits in. I also found a strategy for the enemies with him that wasn't 100% consistent, but it was all I can do. And as soon as the fight starts, I immediately shoot the smoke container in here to get him staggered, and now I can go and hit him a few times. But it's better to hit him from behind to avoid getting hit, and because after 2 or 3 hits, he does this animation. And ideally, he would end up near this barrel in here. Sometimes he would go on the other side, and this strat can still work, but it's better this way. Now the shield guy should be very close to me, and the soldier should be close to the barrel. And when shooting it, both enemies should die, and Hank should take more damage, so he would do another animation. Now I can just run to get the green herb in here, and there's also a med injector on this box. But he won't let me get it that easily. And from here on, I must continue with the fights by ear. Just use the tanks or parry and hit, and avoid getting hit, which was much easier said than done. And I did get close to killing him, because I reached this final phase a lot, but every time he kills me first. But then I realized that I did save 25 minutes from last run, so my time wasn't as bad as it was. So I went back to loot the previous room, and I got a med injector, and I put 1 power upgrade to the hatchet. And after that, I killed him very easily, and that strat didn't even go perfectly. I still had the shield guy alive, but 1 more heal and 1 power upgrade to the hatchet, this fight was so much easier. I can't believe I spent 3 hours in there, and all I had to do is spare 2 minutes to go back and prepare. Whoops. And if that wasn't bad enough, we get 2 Mr. X's right after the fight. But they're nothing a little circle around couldn't fix. And I think I was too exhausted from that fight that I was actually seeing double. But now I had to do the gray segment in here, and it was actually so easy. And what made it even easier is the mortal edge I got from Hunk, so even parries were easier now. And I didn't bother to kill the enemies in here, I just killed the ones on my way and went past everything. And this even worked on this room that had a lot of liquors and even a bloater at the end. And I made sure to get the recipe from the safe in here, and now it was time for the Leon section. This part was harder than the first one, but I just used some acid on the liquors and ran past everyone and tanked their hits. And this room had a lot of zombies and a lot of liquors. And for the first wave of liquors, I just used this barrel in here and that killed most of them. And when I got the chainsaw, I just let out on these enemies. And it was so satisfying. I felt like I was releasing all that built up rage from Hunk and all the attempts before it. But that feeling didn't last long. Thankfully, I managed to kill one of them and just took the elevator to the next room. And now before I go to save myself, I made sure to repair my armor and craft as many magnum ammo as I can, because I was barely crafting anything and I had a lot of blood. And even though the final boss fight had some enemies to distract you, I had 14 magnum shots in addition to a fully loaded and upgraded Requiem and a fully loaded Ghost Grudge, so I just unloaded on him. And as soon as he got his rocket launcher, I used the Ghost Grudge to make him drop it and finish them off with it. And now I did die on the second phase, but you can use the supply box to repair the armor, and then I killed him, beating the game in 3 hours and 35 minutes. And the crazy thing is that it was about 25 minutes less than 4 hours. And 25 minutes is exactly how much I saved by replaying those parts in Raccoon City. So do you think I could have made it if I haven't retried? You can let me know down in the comments. And you can hit that like button if you enjoyed this video, and why not check out one of my other stupid Resident Evil challenges. I'll see you in there. Peace.